Making a tough call. As a parent, this is not an unusual experience for you. Welcome to Afternoon Tea with Shawn Bradbury and myself, Niyati Patel. I work with parents and families in building that inner self so that we can raise our kids for a better tomorrow. And Shawn here will talk about his dad community.
Yeah, so I empower middle-aged fathers, single and married, and I recently built a community based upon the supporting of them. And currently, we are honing in this month and bringing awareness to seasonal depression disorder.
And so as we move through different seasons of life and the year, we're going to talk today about moving through making some of those tough calls in our parenting journey. And there are just those moments. You would know them. And we would love to hear what you would think of these as well. There are just some moments where you just have to put your foot down. There is no other way. And no one else is going to make that call for you and your child. And in all honesty, these are moments that you have probably never experienced as a child with your parents or with anyone else. It's a lot of times a very specific moment or situation that just asks of you to be something that you are not familiar with. And that comes with a lot of love. You're coming from a place of much care to protect your child and yourself. But it also comes with a lot of uncertainty. So we are going to talk today some about, moving through those moments of making that tough call and seeing ourselves and our kids in the light of the love that holds all of that together. Shawn, we talked some about, making these tough calls. How do you feel that even making that tough call is somehow very integral to creating boundaries not so much of self-preservation, but of mutual respect? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, boundaries are tough, especially when you're a parent. As they grow, as we talked about prior to the recording, there's just different boundaries and different everything kind of evolves from what you let them get away with to the boundaries you really need to start setting because they are getting older and they need to understand no means no, and that you can't do these things, and they have to become a little more um, self-reliable as well, and responsible and accountable for some of their actions. So it's kind of, I look at it as like an evolution of the boundaries in themselves, because I've looked back and even questioned the boundaries that I've set because I wasn't quite sure. Sometimes it's trial and error too. It's
Mm.
also, you see what other people have done. Sometimes you mirror that, and I've done that, but yet I don't feel good about it because it's not who I am. So there is so much trial and error. And I'll even go back to like when Aaron was an infant. When they cry, people would tell you, don't go see them, don't pick them up, right? Let them cry themselves to sleep. And now I believe, and if I'm wrong, please correct me, the right thing to do is to pick them up and hold them, is what I've learned, right? So that's always been one of those things. It's like, what is right, what is wrong, but what do you feel is right in your heart too, that how to deal with that situation at the moment.
You bring up something about, as young as when Aaron was an infant, and really, yes. Uh, if we think about it, kids are learning everything. They come with zero information, or they do come with some information that we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's deeply valuable and loving information because somehow everybody likes being around a baby. There's so much love, you know.
Yeah.
Um, So of course they're bringing something, but they're learning about us and the world they're born into quite rapidly within the first year or two, because they start to speak a
Hmm.
language. It doesn't matter what family a child is born into, they will pick up the language they're born in. And so that's incredible. I mean, you and I have tried learning new languages as adults, and uh,
I'm good.
yeah. So we might pick up a few words here and there, but to pick up the whole language, that's a whole different scale. And we've all had that as babies. So, reaching our children from as young as when they're babies with the trust that they can understand within the life experience they have. So as a baby, and when I say life experience, it's not like you have to go through 10,000 bad experiences. It's not good or bad. It's just within our world environment. And if a baby is just born, baby's learning about the world they're born in.
Hmm.
So, within the life experience that we have, to trust that we understand, because, as you and I, if I, and when I speak to parents, if I tell them, do this, do that, no one's going to talk to me.
Right.
But we do that a lot with our kids, thinking they don't know. But it's like they're watching us the whole time,
All the
and
time.
and they're learning that boundary right there. So they're saying you're gonna probably bet on the fact that I don't get it. So let me just test this out, and then sometimes it's conscious. We know they're doing that, and we work on it. But there are other times when you don't know how we landed here. I
Yeah.
don't know what is it that I was allowing without realizing, but I have to put my foot down on this and say no. And it's such a strong decision, having to say, well, you can't watch TV, or you can't have your
Hmm.
phone. It's a really tough call to make, because in the heart of it, as a parent, you know that you want to give everything possible to this precious child of yours, um, but not this way. It is that moment.
Yeah. That could be very detrimental too. And you just talking just brought up a point that the more you allow something to happen, the more the habit becomes, right? So then when you get to the point where, okay, I have to stop this, they're going to look at you and go, well, you let me get away with this for how long? And now it's a problem, you know? And as a father, and even as a person who didn't set really good boundaries for myself and others, that was a hard lesson for me to learn too, to work on my own boundaries first, to feel comfortable with that, and then to give boundaries to not just my daughter, but everybody else. And, but that's like a learned behavior, right? If you're showing people how you want to be treated, right? So it's so important to model those boundaries for them, and especially being a dad, like you want to fly in and you want to fix everything, but you got to step back at times, and you got to have the boundary, and you have to say no, even when you know it's going to stir up a storm, or there might be some yelling or slamming of a door or something. It's just like, but that's the right thing to do, and once you start having a constant, boundary around something, eventually it's kind of like wearing their resistance down. It's like, okay, he's not going to budge. Maybe I'll move on to something else and test him. I don't know. But they just get to learn where you're coming from. So I think it's important for the parent to know, where am I coming from, because I might be giving my kid mixed signals as to what I'm picking and choosing for boundaries.
This is what, especially in the Nimble Futures community, this is the most important work we do, is helping the parent arrive at where they're coming from. Because if you don't know yourself, it's really
Mm,
hard to do the right thing, because there is a lot of self doubt and a lot of decisions to be made. independently. No one else is going to come in and do it for you. You are probably the only person
Yep.
who is even thinking about this child in certain ways, in certain areas uh, that are largely unseen by most people, whether it's school or social, family, friends. And and there's a deep need to do it right. So that self-reflection and finding that inner strength or inner compass to execute a learning experience for your child is extremely valuable.
I love that. And I think what I would add to that is go with your gut instinct. You need to trust yourself. Like I said, when you trust yourself, you're going to stick with a certain message. And it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong because some of it's going to be trial and error. That's just the way it's going to work. It's not going to be great out of the gate, and you need to give yourself grace for that too. And if you need to adjust, that's okay. You need to try something to see if it's either going to stick or if it's going to fail. But even if it fails, you tried something, so you know what to try next. So I would just say give yourself some grace, truly trust in yourself. Try not to take a lot of advice from everybody. That was one of my big downfalls. I'd go out seeking advice from everybody and not trusting myself. And I think because you see other people doing it and you see the results, but you don't really, those results don't always work with your kid. It's like, it's a different dynamic. It's a different, family situation. And you just have to trust who you are and who they are and just work within that like container of your family.
And I want to bring us for some more because we've given you a lot to think about, even though we try to keep this as comfortable as possible in terms of time because we know you are extremely busy. But we are speaking to you. And that is, I recently posted on my social media that the question we want to ask our kids is not what do you want to become, but how do you want to serve? And and that's more than do the chores, do what I ask you to do. No, you're gonna do things because that's who you are. And when we start that looking at it that way, because we're serving our kids, and our kids, we want our kids to be good people who will serve others or serve society or the community for something good. And so the minute we change that question, we change the way we look at ourselves and the way we look at our kids. And so, you're not helping mommy or daddy by doing something. You're doing this because it's yours to do. And that starts very, very young. And you will still have tough calls to make. There'll be different ones. Um, but this is definitely something that you want to lean on, trusting yourself and working either in the facilities or programs you have near you, or with people that you trust and can be vulnerable with, or find a program like one of ours, like Shawn or mine, to help you really feel strong in yourself because you're doing something extremely important. The parent's job is the most important job in the world, and help your child see that they are the most important people in the world without that becoming a struggle where you make them do something and they make you do something. No, we all come here together.
Love it. Awesome. Well said.
So we would like to leave you with this thought. And again, you'll find our links in the description below. We would love to have your thoughts and experiences. And for those of you who know us, please, any other way you can reach us, you want to share your thoughts and comments, we would love to know how this resonates with you.
Yeah, it's all about connection. We're all here to help each other. So please reach out to us if you need anything.
Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Take care, everyone.